podcast number. I'm only kidding, Jamie. I'm not going to do the number thing. I keep saying that, eh? Number.
You gotta get the take thing.
Yeah, that's so true. We're here with Mark Loeffler, Keller Williams Signature, Oakville, Glen Silva, the Costa Group. Glen's like, why do you have me here?
Hello.
And me, Carmen Costa. So a couple of things, that was brought to my attention. I wanted to talk about mainly to get a real estate agent's perspective on the market and where the market's heading. I know we had our lunch and learn. Mark, you didn't show up, Mark.
That's okay. I'm an economics geek, so I could have probably led your lunch and learn.
Yeah, true that. But Mark, I want to know from your perspective how, I know you dabble a little bit, you refer off your business because you have a new role here.
Yes.
So I want to know, what does the market look like now? Like, I know we were saying yesterday, it's slow, right? We've got refinances happening. Your purchases, not so much. There's not a lot of inventory now on the market. Why? Why do you think that's happening?
I don't think we're finding it that slow. I mean, just our office here, we're up about 30% year over year.
Wow, that's amazing.
For like production, we're up like 80% in gross commission. So we're selling higher end stuff, I guess, as well.
Of course.
Yet, I think the market's doing pretty well right now. I think you're right. There's not a lot of inventory yet. I just think that's a function that it was cold for a couple weeks, and I think you're going to see some inventory come out end of March, April, May type time frame. It might just be a little bit delayed from where we were. If you talk to CMHC in Genworth, they think this is probably going to be the second or third best year we've ever had.
Amazing.
For deals. We
did get that though. Greg Casey did say that.
Yeah,
right.
I was talking to CMHC like. I don't know, but what was our best year? Was that
2016?
2016. So, yeah. I was talking, like, I'm an economics geek and I love that stuff. And I was talking with the main guy in our area, and he was basically saying that this is going to be the best year because they were introducing all the stuff to slow down the market. Mm-hmm. And yet, 2017 was probably the second or third best year ever. 2018 was probably the fourth or fifth best year ever.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think, like, in my point of view, this is a soft landing.
Yeah.
If you're a good real estate agent, right now is the time where you're taking market share, because you can go out and beat the people who we used to lose to because they would say, well, my aunt's a realtor and sells one house a year.
But they've fallen off now.
Well, yeah, because they can't just show up and list a house at like $500,000 and sell it for $1.2 million. So you actually have to know the market. You actually have to realize the market and do work.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that 2018 cleaned off, or not cleaned off, but got rid of all those aunts, uncles, part-time agents, mortgage agents, real estate agents? Do you think that that's what happened in 2018? And does that normally happen every 10 years?
Well, it happens every time there's a shift in the market. For
sure.
Because that shows who the skilled-based realtors are.
For sure.
And do I think it happened? I don't know. Anecdotally, maybe a little bit, yet are they still around? And if we go back to huge multiple offers, will they show back up? Maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
So how do you overcome the aunt and the uncle? What are you teaching your agents here?
To overcome that, it's skill-based, right? So you got to go in, you got to provide value.
And that's what you guys are doing here.
Yeah, because in the absence of value, money matters, right?
Yeah.
So, like to teach somebody how to take a listing at 5 or 6% rather than taking it, dropping your drawers and getting paid 0.5%, then you're blowing your brains out at 1% on marketing, so you're losing money.
Big time, that's not worth it.
No.
Glen, you came into the year where it was pretty tough, right?
Last year, so it's about a year in now.
March 9th, we talked about this yesterday. March 9th is 1 year.
March 9th, 1 year.
Yeah.
Compare myself to last year, it's, we're starting to see a little bit more action now in the market. As of February, the statistics are up a little bit. You're starting to see a little bit more houses out come up for sale.
For sure.
So, yeah, it tend to be a little busier at this time of year as opposed to last year. I don't think when you first enter this industry, you're not going to get a phone call within your first week. So, I'm very impressed with the way it's going. And it's better to start slow and not bury yourself right away, I find.
I go the opposite way.
Mark,
I just
I
dive
knew you-
head in and just bury it and just keep going.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, for me, it was a slower start, but this year I'm starting to, as of actually the winter, which I was very surprised in December, we had a very busy office space.
We were
Everyone
busy
was-
December too.
Yeah,
Big time.
And I found that the rates at the time of year,
They were higher.
They weren't favorable at all.
You know why? Because the lenders, what they do is they bought their business, it's done,
Yeah,
and they
wanna
close shop.
They want to maximize.
So what they do, but what did one of the top banks, I'm not naming any banks, but what did they do? They upped their rate by 0.5%. They weren't even competitive, right?
It was tough when people were rate huggers. It was tough to get them into that kind of product. So you'd have to find those lenders that were able to negotiate a little bit and get you that rate that the client was looking for. Whereas of now, they're very favorable. They've gone down almost 50 bips.
Well, I got to ask this because I'm getting a mortgage right now.
He is
And-
with the Costa Group.
Nice.
We'll see if they give it. No, I'm joking.
Nice.
I've heard that variable rate, the rates have compressed. Like they're not giving as big a. Like
Nope.
I got 0.85 in December.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at like 0.55, 0.6, 0.65.
That's as far as they're going. But you've got your fixed rates that have come down significantly.
I see that. Yet I've always been a variable guy.
I know you have.
Yeah, same,
so
same.
we were going to have that conversation today, Mark. But
Nice.
anyway, no, but it's exactly that. It's when the interest rates on the fixed components are higher, your variable discount is lower, right? And it happens. And we see this all the time. And your variable clients, they want the higher discount because they're used to it, right? So just December, like you said, but now you're looking at that component where it's a lot lower, right? Because your fixed product is lower, right? And exactly what Glenn said, 0.5. Like, this is crazy. And then the Bank of Canada announces that they're going to hold their rates. They're not.
I mean, no offense. The Bank of Canada rate has no effect on
Granted.
on mortgage rates. Yet, like,
But yet it does, though,
and
because what ends up happening when they hold their rate? They come down
Yeah, they
on
come
rates.
down.
So people say that economics-wise, you're right. It has nothing. But every time and it's, what did Greg say, Greg Casey? What did he say? It's media propaganda.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
the
much.
problem. They're throwing out too much garbage. Don't listen to the media. He's like, turn off your TVs, turn off your radios, go out and buy.
Yeah.
No, but I honestly, like and now I understand, because as I go back to look at all those, the rates gone up, like they've gone up 0.25%. The Bank of Canada has no effect on fixed rates. And what happened in December when they did that?
Yeah, they all stayed around prime.
Yeah.
They were all
so
running
then,
almost
and then
4%.
they up their rate by 0.25%. Fixed rates.
I just notice that every spring when the spring market comes in, the banks are competing, so they lower their fixed rates.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what's
Granted,
happening right now.
and that's what I said to you guys.
They're all just kind of going after, trying to increase.
No, but
their
it's
market
spring
share.
lending. That's what they
lending,
call it.
yeah.
It's called the spring lending. But it's all, Mark, you know this. It's all propaganda. It's all about media and fearing, right? So you're fearing, and you're like, oh, I got to go with that 5-year fix. But
fear of
in all,
missing out, yeah.
but let's be realistic. If you're buying investment properties, what's the best term to go with?
So on all my apartment stuff, I buy 2 years, just because
Commercial. Okay, let's talk residential, because commercial is a different caliber all on its own. Let's talk about, residential. You're buying rental properties. This is for, like intermission, or not intermission, the intermediate, right? Investor that comes in to buy a triplex. Let's talk about a triplex.
Okay, well,
What would you do?
Again, it depends, right? It depends what you're going to do.
You're
with
such
the
an
property.
advanced investor.
I see it right. I'll tell you what I see. I see
You're a
it.
brand new investor,
Yeah.
Mark. Let's do this.
Okay,
You're a
but
brand new
here's the
investor,
thing.
and you don't know if you want to be an investor.
Great.
What term would you pick?
So if I'm going to buy a property, and I tell all my investors this, is you're going to buy it, you're going to fix it up a bit. Like I would recommend
Smart.
that. Right? So you take a short term, you take a 1-year term, or take a variable where you have a 3-month interest penalty.
You got your variable.
right?
Okay.
And then, so you have a very small penalty to get out,
Granted.
and then you can refinance that property when you've, upped the rents and increased the value.
Exactly. And that's the perfect advice to give, because you want to do your variable, right? Because you don't know, like, let's say your investor fixes that house in 2 months. Now you've got an 8-month penalty that we have to look at with the interest rate differential, right? So
And the
we've got to
penalties could be
calculate
very
that.
big. And
They can be very big, and you don't know, right? On a $600,000 home, you do a 3-month interest on a variable because you're not sure what you want to do with that property. What if you don't like the tenants? What if you don't like, taking care of tenants?
That's when you hire a property manager.
I know.
From day one, you hire a property manager.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're first getting into the market, you want to make sure that you have everything set up the way it's supposed to be set up. Because I tell my investors, when they're first buying their first property, I tell them, you should go with the variable. Well, I was never a variable person. Then you shouldn't be an investor, because if you don't have that
risk factor,
you don't have it, you should not be investing.
You win on variable 97% of the time.
Oh yeah, it's
right?
proven.
It's
Now,
proven.
like it might be right now. This is one of the 1% times is you're not. And if I wait 3 weeks, maybe I
100%.
will. Maybe I'll
And
get my point.
there's some
off or
lenders out there
whatever,
that are a little bit better on the variable.
There
You're
is.
seeing like the mid range, but there's some that are still at the 85, the prime
They're
minus
85,
85.
but you have the ones that they will pull their pants down. However, your penalties are not 3 months interest. Your penalties now become a lot higher. And I say this to the the buyer that comes through and says to me, well, I want the best discounted. So what does that entitle? That's my question. What does that entitle, right? What did I say to you guys yesterday?
Yeah, exactly.
What does that, do you want that? So are you going to tell me the 5 years, you're going to have that discount for the 5 years, the full 5 years? I don't know if you're going to keep that rental property. You're going to come here a year from now saying, I don't like my tenants. Exactly what you said. I fixed up my property. I now want to pull equity out. Well, now it's going to cost you about $22,000 because you wanted that 0.25% more.
Yeah.
And let's be realistic, Mark. You write off your interest.
100%.
So why does the interest rate matter? Not that I'm saying I'm going to give you a higher rate, but why does a 0.25% bother you when you write off that interest?
I mean, it doesn't at the end of the day.
No, but it's the mentality, right?
It's ego, right? You got to get the best.
Exactly.
It's like when you talk to somebody about a new car.
Exactly.
Everybody always got a good deal, right?
Of course.
And now if everybody's always getting a good deal, how are the people who own these car lots making money?
But they really are, though, Mark, because if you look at how when you buy a car, you pay your interest right up front into that purchase price.
Oh, yeah.
So let's say interest-free loans, they're not interest-free. You've paid the interest in that purchase price. So if you were to, let's say, interest-free, and they tell you, you know what, Mark, you can pay that car anytime you want. Because I dug deep into that, because people would say that all the time. Well, why can't we have like a lower interest rate? I'm like, but do you understand how cars work? With mortgages, you don't pay the interest all up front. You pay it along the way on your amortization, on the term that you pick. But when you buy a car, you pay the interest up front in the purchase price. Soon as you say, I want to sign that loan with you, the bank, for this car, I'm going to pay all that interest up front. So they don't care if you pay 5 months down the road, 2 years down the road. They don't care. You've already paid them their interest. So interest-free, is it actually interest-free? It really isn't. Right?
I was going not on the loans, just on. It's the same thing.
No, you're right. It's the ego thing. You're right.
It's just the mindset. You get a good deal.
100%.
Everybody wants a good deal, and rate is such a.
You are 100% correct.
Like that's what everybody advertises is rate.
That's
right?
what
they don't
everybody thinks
advertise
about.
that. Don't worry, you can pay this off at any time, or
You're right.
that type of stuff, right? So.
But Mark, you did
That's
a
what's
course here.
advertised.
You did a course here, and your course was solid because you were teaching people how to diversify their investments, right? Where should you invest? You were
Yeah, it was the seminar, right?
It was a seminar. And you're an open book. You don't, and like, pardon my French, you don't give a shit. You're like, I'm going to give you, but I'm going to give you the knowledge, but who's actually going to apply it to their lives, right? You're going to come out, you're probably going to take 5% of what I've said, and you're going to be like, I connected with that. That's what I'm going to use.
Yeah, which is fine. Like
You're right.
If just 10% of people did that, then I'm happy, right? Like
Exactly. But you do give your knowledge out.
Mm-hmm.
You tell but not everybody is on that level. That's where it sits. That's where it arises. Not everybody's on that level of referral basis. Like when you send your deals out, like you don't do this. Oh, I'm gonna hide my secrets. You put it out because not everybody's on that level, right? Not everybody's not on that level to learn at that level and invest at that level, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of guts to do that. You know what I mean? It's impressive, right? Because I watched from the back of the room. We walked, like we were in the same car and we talked about it. I was like, it's funny because you can give all that knowledge out and tell people, do this, do that, do this, do that. But how many people are actually going to apply it?
Some people
Because
did.
some people will,
Yeah,
granted.
some will, some won't.
Exactly. But the thing is it's all about what you take and what level you're at. I honestly believe that. I believe when you're an advanced investor and they come to me and they come through my door and they're like, Carmen, I'd like to get this product. I never get what is your best 5-year fixed. I never get that. No. I never get that because you know the ins and outs. And I tell people, as soon as they're investors, I'm like, go talk to your accountant. Please speak to your accountant.
I find most people coming through the door, or every second person is asking about a rental, an investment property.
Now.
What are your suggestions? I get a lot of calls now based on, what would you do? What's your take? Mark, what do you think? How did you first get started? What was your first real, investment opportunity? What would you recommend, the beginner do in these circumstances?
So I bought a duplex in Newmarket. It was a bungalow, 3-bedroom up, 2-bedroom down, and I bought it. And because I was young and I had skills at that point.
How old were you, Mark?
25.
Nice.
And so I did all the work myself. I put in a new kitchen in, did floors. I mean, it's not necessary, yet sweat equity helps me increase my profit.
Nice.
And then I'd refinance those, and I would go do it again. And
amazing.
So that's the trick, guys. I mean, it's
no,
simple.
but
simple.
Mark, you do, let's talk about your buildings. How did you get into that?
Well, it's like 4 greenhouses. You buy a red hotel.
Monopoly. You teach your kids that, eh?
I do.
I still play that.
I love it.
I love
But he's all
Monopoly.
about teaching his kids
That's
that.
right.
Well, and it's so true though. And it comes from the fact that okay, so where do you maximize your return? So 2 to 4 units is really, you maximize your return there. Yet at some point it becomes difficult for me to get mortgages. Also, I was buying, say, triplexes downtown Hamilton, and I can make them really, really nice, yet you still got to rent them to people, and they bother each other and they hear each other, and it's a common heating system,
100%.
that type of thing, right? So it's just more work. Whereas now I buy concrete construction apartment buildings, and it's all based on my refinances are all based on the numbers, right? It's a cap rate.
That's
Has
smart.
nothing to do with my income. I could have 0 income for 5 years and I'll still get financing.
That's amazing. That's
Nice.
amazing.
Well, there you go. There you have it.
At 25.
Simple as that.
I know.
I'm
At
not
25, you should be playing Monopoly.
He's not 25
I'm not
anymore.
25
No,
anymore.
I'm saying for the new
wish.
investors at 25, you could be playing
if I knew
Monopoly.
if I knew what I knew today at 25,
So, Mark, what is your vision here at Keller Williams Signature?
So I started here in December. Took on a new role as CEO of the office. The goal is to get it up to 100 agents within a year. And again, and I consult with all the agents here. So it's just to have them lead their best life. And, I find a lot of real estate agents, and you hang out with a lot of them too.
For sure.
You ask them what their exit plan is, and none of them have it, right?
Wow.
So I'm like, well, you're going to be a 75-year-old agent, showing houses?
They really are, though.
How's that going to work for you? Are you investing on the side? You're looking at real estate investments or properties all day long. You should be quite knowledgeable about this. Why are you not investing at least in that?
For sure.
Yeah, some guys want to do it. It's a job that you can do after you're 65.
Well, 100%
And I know
you can.
I know somebody
I do not
firsthand.
want to do this after 65.
I know someone firsthand that I still work with very well, and he's getting up there. I think it's almost time for his retirement, but he's still going, and he's been doing it since the Explorers came over back in the day.
Well, you never go to a real estate agent's retirement party.
Exactly.
No, you don't.
No,
You don't.
Well, a lot of funerals sometimes. You never go to there. There's never okay, I'm retired. That's
That's crazy.
A lot of talk about funerals and death today.
Yeah, no, we're done with this death situation. Mark, where do you see 2019? Honestly, I'm excited about 2019. I said that yesterday to you guys at our motivational meeting. I'm pumped. I feel 2019, 2018 was a learning curve for the Costa Group. We opened up, learning how to run a business, how to run my business, how to run, teach these guys, recruitment. It's hard. It's hard to find the right people. But I find 2019, we were talking to Jamie about this as well with social media. We're taking it up a notch, right? We're going to do these podcasts I find these podcasts are helpful, right? Because you get everybody's opinion. And that's exactly what they are. The other day, we did get a message on Facebook. Somebody was offended. It was a real estate agent. But you got to remember, and I'm gonna put this note here, and I'm gonna probably put it on the comments as well. These are opinions. These are people's opinions. This isn't a rider. This isn't a policy. This isn't something that's set in stone. People have rights to opinions. Podcasts are just that, opinions, right? We can say what we want. No judgment, no prejudice, no nothing, right? So the Costa Group, this is us. We are going to state what we feel, and we're not going to be held down by opinions. So, Mark, I do want to know, like 2019, where do you see yourself with Keller Williams Signature? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, we'll be up to 100 agents by the end of the year here. We're about 40 right now. So
you were 30 a month ago.
We were 28 when I started.
28, so. Yeah, see?
Wow, excellent.
So we're moving up in the world. And I mean, I just see, I mean, my goal is to buy more apartment buildings. I think the rental market is where you want to be right now. I mean, again, that guy from CMHC that I was talking to, Abdullah, way back when, I said, Abdullah, what do you think of like the market in general, GTA? And he goes, well, there's 100,000 people moving in Toronto every year. They need to live somewhere. And that's just Toronto. We're not talking Golden Horseshoe, anything like that, right? So, and it's true. People are moving in, and I mean, they're not building more rental accommodations, so therefore demand's going up. They're making it harder for people to get mortgages. Therefore, more renters. Demand's going up, right? Because we used to have that natural outflow, especially my buildings, because I make them nice, that their next step was typically to buy a property. So we're not seeing that as much right now.
Wow.
Interesting.
Glenn, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, we've already seen, as of February, we've seen a little bit of increase in house sales. I think the numbers, the difference was 4 from our presentation last week. It was, I think, 38 versus 34. Mind you, we're up against last year. It was a different kind of year, the stress test. The stress test was introduced at the beginning of, I think it was January 2018, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that affected a lot of things. So this year we're up against that. So we should definitely be seeing that increase in everything, in rentals, in sales. The average house price is up a tad as well. I forget the exact number, but it's still in the 500s. I think it's 555 or something. The average.
I think that's what they said in Hamilton.
Yeah, it was Hamilton.
Because there's Hamilton West, Hamilton East, Hamilton Central, but I think as a whole it was about 50,000.
Yeah, so
it was
I
up
mean, we're
550.
seeing. I think it's going to be a great year, and like the volume, we're going to see a lot more volume come out for everybody. I think it's good for real estate agents, and for our industry as well, and the banking industry and the mortgage industry. So should definitely see a good year ahead of us. They planned 2 years, but 2019, since we're talking about that, should be a much better year than last year.
No, for sure. I'm excited for 2019. I'm excited you took on this role. I do want to see us grow together. So I'm pretty excited about it. We're looking for a new location. I keep saying this, right? We're looking for a location, 3,000 square feet.
Can you help us out?
And nobody helps us out. But we are looking in.
Maybe you need to expand your search parameters.
Yeah, Oakville. No, I can't come to Oakville, but we're expanding, and we're excited about it. I'm excited you took on this role, Mark. Honestly, I believe you're a rock star. I always did say that. You're one of my rock stars for sure. Right up there. I always reference you when we're talking about entrepreneurship. So thank you so much for joining us.
Sure.
Glenn, thank you.
Thank you.
As always.
Pleasure.
He's like,
as
why
always.
Me?
Why me? Always
yeah,
me.
I know. Yeah, so thanks a lot, Mark, honestly.
My pleasure.
All right.